You got like anime
Yeah.
stuff all over the gym?
Yeah. I some people gave me some like Funko Pops. So I
Oh
have
man,
like
I got a huge Funko Pop collection.
a bunch of Funko Pop like NBA players. Then I have like a Mecha Frieza and like a couple Goku ones, and then the artwork on the wall. Each piece we started with Kobe. So when we did Kobe, we
Yeah.
kind of threw like the emblem on Kobe
Okay, yeah.
on his jersey. So we made Kobe and Dragon Ball Z themed it. And then my artist was like, okay, well, I'm gonna put Michael Jordan on the Nimbus, and then you
Oh,
haven't seen it?
that's cool.
Yeah,
I
so we
don't think
fly.
I've seen that, bro.
I'll show it to you later. He's flying on the Nimbus, and then LeBron has a scouter, and so LeBron's coming to block Jordan. He's on the scouter, and you got MJ on the Nimbus. So they're all like Dragon Ball Z themed, and then you have Curry with a Naruto headband, or like the Leaf headband, and you got Giannis, and then you actually have you remember how James Harden had the red eye?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Oh, okay. I already
so
know what you did there. Oh,
he's got
that's
the
that
Sharingan. Yeah, he's got the
cool.
Sharingan. And so like the two of them have headbands, and then behind James Harden is like the Akatsuki. And then I didn't know what I wanted to do for the third anime. Like obviously One Piece is really popular, but not a lot of people in America like I don't feel like is as mainstream as Dragon Ball Z and
It's
Naruto.
not
Um, so I went with Hunter x Hunter just because I love Hunter x Hunter.
one of my favorite
So
shows, bro.
yeah, one of my favorite. Not a lot of people know it, like as far as like the young kids and stuff. Like
Yeah.
if you're not really into anime, you know Dragon Ball Z and Naruto
You just
anyways.
know the classics, yeah.
Yeah, but you don't know Hunter x Hunter. So I went with like, I got like the Hunter's license with Kyrie, and then Kawhi or KD has like the spiders.
Yo, what?
No, because he's like the tarantula. And then I remember that nickname even though it died a long time ago.
Yeah.
Um, and
That's
then
that's cool. I need to see that.
yeah, I'll show it to you. It's cool.
Have you finished One Piece?
Mm-mm.
Because One Piece is like I know Dev, Dev just started watching it. I've just seen like maybe 30 episodes so far, but I just know it's like a million episodes.
No, I watched. It's crazy. This sounds ridiculous, but I watched about like 200 to 300 episodes. Like, oh yeah, not a big deal. I watched a ton of episodes, but the problem to me was like, anytime that there was a bad guy or a villain or there was some danger, whoever had like died or was in danger, they always came back to life, or like they always made it out just fine. So I couldn't keep watching it because like it was just repeating the same thing. Like, oh no, we're in danger. Someone's like either gonna get hurt or die, but guess what? They're gonna get saved or they're totally fine. I'm like, is there really any danger here? Like everybody's gonna be okay. So it was hard. The
Fair enough.
character
Fair enough.
the
I've heard
character,
like a lot of things about One Piece. I heard it's good.
yeah.
I just know it's a lot. So before we get into all this kind of stuff, what is your all-time favorite anime then? If you
Um,
can name one, I don't know if you can. Sometimes it can be
that's
hard.
hard. So I mean, I have to rock with those three because Dragon Ball Z only wins because nostalgia,
Yeah.
right? So
Right.
like if you really watch the story, it's not that great. But
Yeah.
I came home as a kid and like I would sit next to the TV for 2 hours waiting for it to come on. And then Naruto is just amazing, like incredible as far as like how they took all these different like they're not tribes, villages, and like had so many different backgrounds, and like the amount of like studying they did for all like the hand
Yeah.
signs and all that thing like that's insane. And how many episodes it was, and it was just great throughout the whole thing. Um, and then Hunter x Hunter, of course, is just amazing. Like, yeah, those three are
I
some of my
wish
top.
I wish Hunter x Hunter never I know like stopped. I know there's still mangas and stuff going on, but the way it ended, bro, like it was so nasty. Like I
Yeah.
just wanted to see more and more. So I hope one day Hunter x Hunter comes back. But
You
okay,
got
that's
all the
dope.
freaking stuff. Like, I mean, obviously, everyone loves Death Note. That's incredible.
It's classic.
And then there's so many that people don't talk about, like Erased. Have you ever seen Erased? It's so good.
No, I've never seen a race.
Promise Neverland. I mean, there's only
Yeah,
one season in, but it's
I've
so
seen
good.
Promise Neverland yet.
There's a lot of like underground ones that people don't know about so much that are really good too. But yeah, I love my anime.
I love anime, man. It's always dope connecting with people who like anime because I feel like it's not everyone. So
You know,
you can't always have these conversations.
I'll tell you a crazy story. I was about 18 years old, and I started training my first NBA player.
Okay.
He played for the Bucks. Real good dude. So, we get in the gym, it's early morning, it's like 6 a.m. Him and I actually had my younger brother come help me rebound. And my brother was maybe maybe like 13 years old at the time. So I was like, hey, just roll with me, come help me rebound for this guy. And I put him through the whole workout. And it was cool. It was, it was great. It was like my first time ever training NBA guy, but I was like, you know what? Like, we're gonna go in just like any other workout. I studied his film and looked over some stuff. He liked it. So we're sitting down and he's on his phone. And on the back of his phone, you see Samurai Champloo.
Oh man, classic.
So I'm sitting there just like, ain't no way. Like, this is not a mainstream, like, this isn't Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, no,
Like, ain't no way this guy's watching Samurai Champloo. So I look at my brother, we just finished watching it, and I tap my brother, I'm like, bro, you see what I'm seeing? I was like, that's Mugen. And so I talked to Johnny, I was like, and Dev met Johnny before.
okay.
And I was just like, hey, yo, like, you watch Samurai Champloo. So we started connecting on anime. So it just made like our relationship as a trainer and a player so seamless because, he liked anime.
Oh,
I liked anime. We both love basketball, want to grind, want to get better at the things we're doing, trying to
yep.
get better at our craft, but also just enjoy a lot of the same things. So that was really cool.
This dope, man. It's crazy because people don't realize like how people they just see the anime and they may not understand it, but like the animes that we watch and we love, like you said, there's so much like deep meaning like rooted into the stories about like just grinding, like working hard, like just like trying to be your best self. And it's like, I don't know, man. That's
Please,
like one of the main reasons I love the animes is because
yeah,
of the stories and how the characters develop. So,
big time.
okay, let's hop in. First of all, I love that we just talked about anime to start everything off. A couple of things I want to mention to you. First of all, I want to thank you. I know you're like a busy ass dude, so to have you on the podcast means a lot. You're actually the first podcast guest of 2021.
Oh, big time.
But also on top of that, you actually didn't even see this because when you signed up, when you booked a time, it was called Life as an Entrepreneur podcast.
Yes.
We fully rebranded it to the Find Your Breakthrough podcast.
Okay, cool.
So it's powered by in the lab. So within the lab, like our slogan is, to find your breakthrough. So throughout everyone's life, we want to help them achieve multiple breakthroughs throughout their lifetime, right? Because every time you hit a breakthrough, that means you're growing. That means you're evolving as a human, right?
Mhm.
So along your path, you're going to hit 1,000, maybe 100, whatever breakthroughs.
Yeah.
So the whole point of this podcast is to go through your story, kind of get into the nitty gritty, ask some questions maybe you haven't been asked before,
Good.
and allow the listeners to learn from your mistakes, learn from your successes, to hopefully help them find more breakthroughs like throughout their lifetime.
Oh, big time. I got plenty of those for sure. I mean,
I know you do, bro, and that's why I don't know how it worked out that you just like you wanted to do it and you booked and you literally I sent you the link, you booked the next day.
yeah.
I was like, man, it's fitting that this dude is the one to kind of kick this off.
Well, I
So
mean, I've always looked up to you honestly a lot because of the way
yeah,
that you
appreciate
guys have done such a good job with your branding.
it. Mm,
Like when you sell a basketball, you're not selling a basketball, you're selling much more. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, you buy this basketball, but not only are you just buying this cool looking ball, but there's like a story behind everything that you sell. You know what I'm saying? And so
yeah,
that's a huge part of like how you've created and cultivated in the lab to be more than just a streetwear brand and more like why is it succeeding more than so many other brands? And it just makes sense because of the way that you guys are so seamless with each other. Like your guys' team is so perfect, and I strive for my team to be like that too.
right.
So, that's something that we're working a ton on and advancing small things at a time and taking baby steps towards it, but being really impatiently patient with it. So pushing hard, but understanding
Exactly.
what happens
Still
so fast.
understanding the
Yeah.
process. No, I
Yeah.
appreciate that, man. I appreciate the kind words. It's always cool when people like notice that and are able to like just kind of bring that to light. I love seeing it. I know throughout this. So basically, the podcast is simple. We go through the intro, and then we talk about these three sections where it's like learning, growth, and championship.
Yeah.
All three of those are like mainly talking about you as a creator, your business side, and just so much more.
Mhm.
So we'll definitely like talk about the team and just see like where you guys are at with all that stuff. But there's gonna be people who listen to the podcast who just don't know who Ryan Razooky is. They don't know who R2 B-Ball is.
Yeah.
So can you give yourself an intro, however you want, however long it is, just to kind of give people some
Yeah,
context?
yeah, for sure, for sure. Give me 1 minute. Yeah.
No, it's all good.
I'm busy. So yeah. Okay. So
I'm not editing her out. She's gonna make it into the YouTube video.
yeah, you made the cut. Yeah, you made the cut. Congratulations. No, I mean, pretty simple. I'm a skills trainer, so I work with a ton of players. I mean, oh, great.
Hey,
Okay, sorry about that.
don't worry, bro. This is raw and uncut.
I can see that. So I'm a skills trainer. I work with a ton of players. Currently, we work with over 200 players a week. I've been training for about the past 7 or 8 years, and I've worked with a ton of other guys. I've hosted camps with Devin Williams, of course, Jordan Lolly, Gannon Baker, Cody Topper, Drew Hanlon, just to name a few. And I'd create a lot of content. Of course, I've been training guys like Mikey Williams, Jazier Jackson,
Yep.
that a lot of people are familiar with. Flight is very notable as far as his content stuff. But I mean, I own a gym in San Diego, and the main thing we do is training, and so that's been the biggest thing. And then obviously you branch out from there and learn some other things as well.
Absolutely, I love it, and we're actually gonna touch on all that stuff a little bit later on. but just kind of building on the intro to you. It's I always like to see like or get to know like kind of like the roots a little bit because
Mhm.
like obviously like how you were raised like literally made you into the man you are today.
Yeah.
So can you touch on a little bit about like where you grew up, maybe a little bit about your parents, and just kind of like any like do you have like
Yeah.
a childhood memory or something like that?
So, a little bit about that. Like, my dad is from the Middle East. My mom is from Mexico.
Didn't
Um,
know either of those. That's dope.
they both work really, really, really hard. And even though we had a lot of things when we were young, and they can kind of give us, whatever we wanted, we weren't
Mm,
spoiled. And since the fifth grade, I used to work at my dad's meat market. So I learned a lot of I matured really fast, and I learned a lot of people skills and how to talk and how to run business and things like that. From how old are you? Like 12 years old. So I learned a lot from him. I played basketball my whole life since I was like 5 years old. My brother, when he turned about 11, I was about 16, somewhere in that age. He started playing travel ball. Like I used to train him, at the YMCA and stuff. He started playing travel ball. He ended up playing for Jordan Lawley. I'm sure you know Jordan, J Law.
yep.
And so J Law was a young guy, just finished school at UCSD. And so he was coaching. And so as a 16-year-old kid, I would just go because I'm locked in trying to, help my brother out as much as I can. And then I offered to Jordan, I was like, hey, if you need some help, please, by all means, use me to set screens, to rebound, to pass, to
Wow.
do whatever you need me to do. If you want me to watch this side while you watch this side, that's no problem. Like I always had a really good understanding of the game. So one thing I was crazy good at from like a young age was understanding like the X's and O's. Like I was like again, like in the fifth grade, I would know how to like hedge a screen, how to blitz a screen, how to like
Damn.
yeah, crazy, right?
That's good,
Uh,
bro.
like anytime a coach was like, three-man weave, five-man weave, whatever, like I would have to lead all the drills and like walk everyone through. Like even though it was basic, like so many kids don't know this stuff.
They don't know.
It
Yep.
was everything like shell drill, 1-3-1, 2-3, 2-3, 3-2, whatever, like literally any basketball scheme. That's what I was best at. So it was so easy for me to switch into coaching mode from playing mode. Um, but what I lacked was like the skills training side. So after the practices, J Law would do skills training with a few kids who wanted to do extra skills work. So they just drop in fee, pay a little extra to do some skills work. So I would pay for the skills work, me and my brother. We did that. We learned a lot about footwork. We learned about like different ways to shoot, to draw contact, to score, triple threat moves, yada, 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 all this stuff. So now I'm like playing and coaching at the same time. And then I go to Costa Rica and I meet Gannon Baker, and he runs a crazy good skills workout.
Yep. Yep.
Uh, and my mom, being the crazy lady she is, she came with me and she talked to Gannon. Was like, Gannon, like, Ryan, you, I, whatever, we'd love to have you to come to San Diego to run a basketball camp. So we literally, my mom and myself went around the entire city, put up banners everywhere, paid for 5 million flyers, handed flyers to everybody. I drove to Irvine, to Temecula, to everywhere to just give flyers at all these random tournaments. We ended up getting about 120 kids to show up to the Gannon Baker J Law camp. And I remember I was like 16, 17 years old. So I was like kind of coaching, kind of training, but still playing. So I went to the camp as a participant, but we still kind of hosted it. And then every year after that, like we did it again. And then I was a trainer at the next one. And then we did it like again, and we brought Cody Topper, who coached with like the Vipers, and he's coached with like the Rockets and the Suns and a ton of teams. And he's one of the smartest basketball minds I've ever met. So we bring in Cody, and I'm learning a ton. And this is when Cody was like, "Damn, Ryan, you're really good at training. I'm going to give you one of my NBA guys." And that was like, I'm 18 years old. I had my first NBA player.
That's crazy.
Around nuts and nuts, right? And but I just loved coaching and training. I'm going to college at the time, and then one of these kids was like, "Hey man, like I love watching Devin Williams," and this is one of the kids I'm training. I was like, "Oh, Dev is dope. Like I've seen a couple of his videos," and so I started watching more. Come to find out, Devin's running a clinic in LA. So I round up 5 of my boys. We drive to LA, go run this clinic.
Yeah.
And then I talked to Dev. I was like, "Hey, would you love to come to San Diego?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course. That sounds cool. Just here's my number or whatever." And I'm geeked out. I'm like, "Oh, this is so dope. Like, I'm gonna do it again." So here I go, 20 million banners, 20 million flyers. Devin Williams coming to San Diego in a lab. Him and Nell come. We get 120
Yep.
kids between him and J Law and myself. We kill it. We tried to do it again like a month later, but it was too fast, so it didn't work out as well. Um, but I mean, then I did the same thing with Drew Hanlon. So this was so huge for me because I would bring in all these trainers, and then we would have over 100 kids in all these camps or
Right.
close to it. And then they would all leave and go back to LA, go back to St. Louis, go back to wherever they're from. And then a lot of the kids end up converting and training with me. So that was a huge start to my business. I'm going to college. So every single, like I'm training all these like sessions. I'm doing like maybe 4 or 5 groups a week and then a couple privates here and there wherever I can. I'm building my name, I'm building my business. As soon as I'm about to graduate college, this guy who I talked to years ago was like, "Hey, I'm about to leave. I'm selling my gym if you want it." And I was like, "Bro, I will take it off your hands right now. I don't care what the cost is. I want it. Like, I know how hard I work. I know I can make it work." And the guy used to train about like 30, 40 kids a week. We now train over 230 or 240 kids every week.
Yeah,
So it's
that's
like,
crazy, man. That's so
yeah,
so you yeah, you really grew it. It's cool because I'm gonna dive into that way more
yeah,
in the business side, but I always wondered, I love that you went and told me the story of how it's all started.
mhm.
And first question before I forget, how old are you right now?
Just turned 25.
For context, still a young boy. I'm gonna call you.
Yeah,
You're not even I'm not gonna call you a young man yet till you hit that 30.
that's fine.
That's dope, man. Like the fact that you man, because when I was writing, doing some research and just kind of writing the episode, like the hoop house kept coming up to me, and I'm just like, man, like how did Ryan like get the gym?
Yeah.
So now it makes like that's puts a lot of things into perspective, which we'll touch on. But
Mhm.
it's always so dope to me that you have a gym because I know so many positive things have happened for you in that,
God.
which we'll touch on. So
Yeah.
save the stories if you have them in your mind,
Okay.
save
Okay.
them. But just building off what you just said, you know, a lot of guys helped impact your life from the NBA guys you trained at 18 to J Law, Drew, Dev, like whoever else was kind of in there from the 16 years to like to now.
Yeah.
Who's been the biggest influence on you in that time? And that doesn't have to be a trainer, could be your dad, could be your mom, you know?
Yeah. It was all over the place.
Yeah.
So remember Gannon was one of the first ones that we brought into running camp and he was so solidified at the time. Like even Jordan was still kind of getting his feet wet in the training game. So Gannon had a huge impact.
He's a
Um,
OG.
at first. Like I got so much of my like energy and passion and stuff from like him. And then Jordan as well, because he was like one of the first guys. So it was funny because like, okay, I was like, I'm studying this, I'm studying that. Um, so like I took a lot from Gannon, but then like a lot of his training, I liked how Jordan did more like game scenarios and things with his training and focused more on like the footwork side of it, where Gannon was more just like go, 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 and taught more of like the actions at first. And then with Dev, like the way he like told his stories and like Dev could teach like the most basic thing in the world and make like a 10-minute YouTube video on like the pump fake. And I'm like, damn, bro, like he really made me want to like practice the pump fake for 20 hours, like 10,000 hours. You know what I'm saying? Like that's something I wanted to learn too, because like the most basic moves, like a jab step or a pump fake or a little crossover or whatever, are these kids just need more reps on it and need more inspiration to like do that instead of going pa, 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 step back three. And I'm like, okay, well, how do I make a pump fake sexy? Okay, well, Dev did it. Like I got to figure out how I could do that. So I took like a piece from all of them, but then I talked to Cody, and Cody was like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna come off a wheel into a pinch post, this action, this action, this action." I was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" So I had to learn a whole new language,
Technology, yeah.
all the terminology, so that way I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to teach my kids all the skills, but what's the point of knowing all these skills if you don't actually have the right terminology and the leadership to proceed onto the collegiate level? So now we teach all these kids these skills, and if you watch any of my workouts now, like with anyone who's been with me for a while, I basically just say something and the kid knows exactly what I'm talking about. So you watch this
Right.
kid go to college, and the college coach will be like, I need you to pass it. I need you to chase it. I need you to set a pin down. I need you to set a wide pin down. I need you to curl. I need you to do this. And the kid goes, got it. Whereas so
Yeah.
many kids who go through high school, they don't know a lot of these actions or terminology. So they're going to walk in there and they're going to not know anything. They're going to mess up all these drills. Whereas my kid's going to be like, oh, yeah, elevator, know it. Oh, yeah, lift, got it. Trailers, got it. Easy, know it.
That's
So
so
I
key.
took, yeah, so key. So I took like a piece of like all these guys. Um, but I can't tell you exactly, like, who
No,
was,
that's
like,
fair enough though. I
the
mean,
one.
you had multiple people influence you into like kind of the trainer slash man business guy you are today, which is
Yeah,
dope. And I just want to say, like, I really it's nice and refreshing because like I used to do that also like back in the day, like once upon a time before I met Dev was like a trainer,
mhm,
and like people didn't focus enough on not just the terminology, but just teaching the IQ of the game,
yeah,
which like obviously you're doing, which is like so important because like you said, like when they get to the college, they may get that scholarship, but then they're ending up sitting on the bench because they don't even know how to play the game. They're just
mhm,
athletic or whatever the case may be.
yeah,
So I always love hearing when you got like guys like you say that. So that's like really key.
it's so fun.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm sure you probably I know you have so much fun in the gym.
Yeah.
like with these guys, like because on top of that, like you're getting better every day, being a coach, being a trainer. You're probably learning new stuff by just watching these guys or training them, and you're just growing.
Hmm.
So I love it. I got like two like deeper questions to kind
Yeah.
of end off this whole this intro section before we kind of transition. The first one is like 2020, crazy year, COVID, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. We're not going to get into it because it's been overplayed.
It's a great year.
2021, just gonna hope for. We're just optimistic. We're just hoping things will kind of get better and hopefully some resemblance of a normal life, right?
Yeah.
So for yourself, if you had to like summarize 2021, like what's one word you can use to summarize how you want 2021 to be for yourself?
Hmm. Um, explosive. How's that?
Okay. Explosive. Is there some context to the
Yeah.
word?
So I told you we train about 230, 40 kids now every
Okay.
week.
Yep.
So explosive in a lot of ways. I'm trying to give more, like I'm trying to help my brother to build his business within our business. I'm trying to help my other
Okay.
trainer Clay to build his business within our business. I'm already looking to open up another gym, and just continue to grow, like continue to grow our YouTube, continue to grow our social media, continue to grow our team, continue to grow our merchandise. Pretty much just to offer everything that we possibly can, um, to make one the most money, but two the most impact possible. So if we're able to do both of those things
Mhm.
seamlessly without, you know, hitting each other or running into each other, then we've succeeded in what we need to do.
I agree. Is your brother also a trainer?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So he trains with me too. So kind of touching on that, like, I used when I first opened the gym, I trained 15 hours a day. Um, yeah,
It's a
you know,
grind.
nuts. As I started to open up more group classes and eventually hire my first person, then
Yeah.
it was, went down to like 10. Um, woo, right? But
Still a wall, man.
talking to my brother, he's graduated, and I told him, I was like, well, listen, there is a market for people who want to work out at 4, 5, and 6 a.m., and I'm not willing to do that.
Oh.
So why don't we get you a few players who do want to do that, and let's talk about how we can start your business within the business in the other hours that I'm not working, or other hours that the gym is being wasted, right?
Mhm.
So basically what we're trying to do now is all of our classes start in the afternoon, pretty much 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock prime time. We have private lessons after that. Like yesterday, we had one of the top girls in the country at 8, and then we had a really talented boy at 9 o'clock. So I'm not out of there till 10. Um, but my brother does like 6 a.m. to like 10 sometimes, or like 6 to 12, or just depending on whatever time they start school. And then I want my other trainer Clay to come in and take over from 10 to 4. And this way, we have like all of our groups and all the mass kids and like pretty much anybody who wants to train at all come from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock. And then certain kids who want it extra,
Mhm.
if they can find time to make it in the morning or can make it in the afternoon, we'll figure out a way to work with them to allow them to get in some extra work in a smaller session where it's not as big of a group, and that way we can help the kids who want it more.
I love it, man. I love seeing the business side of you come out because obviously we never had a conversation like this. So I'm starting to see like it just creep out more and more throughout the episode, which I love. So now I like that you guys are stacking that, and I like that hopefully over time you'll be reducing your hours so
Oh,
your
no,
body
they
can
are now. Yeah, now
yeah,
we're. I mean,
yeah,
I have 3 guys aside from myself on staff, and
that's
we have
perfect.
an intern. We're trying to get 2, 3 interns come in to help out with a bunch of other stuff. So,
Right.
I mean, my hours now, like, what's today, Friday? Like, we have a 3 o'clock, or no, sorry, we have 4 o'clock class, 5, 6, 7, and we don't have any privates after that. So I'm done for the day. Like,
You're feeling it. So it's good. It's a good balance. You're finding
yeah,
it.
if I want to work those hours today, I can. If
Yeah.
not, I have 3 guys going to work it today.
Yeah. So
You
you're
know?
good.
So I don't yeah, it's up to me if I want to. I mean, I go because I still like to be there.
Yeah. No, of course. You're like a gym rat. Like you would like love to be in the gym. So that's your environment. That's where you thrive. So that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So it might be like a little bit hard to categorize this like last question for this intro section. Um, but what do you think has been one of your biggest accomplishments to date?
Um, I would say that my biggest accomplishment is being able to find a way to help everybody to help themselves, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So That's one thing that was huge for this year is being able to find the best way to help all the players that we train with, right? Obviously help them personally on the court, but also to give them like homework or other drills or takeaways or at things at home that they could do to improve while not being with me all the time. And then for my trainers, being able to help them to learn how to train, but also to help them help themselves and say, hey, here, go take these hours and you
Yep.
figure that out
Yep.
on your own. So it's been a really good way to like do it in a safe way where it's not high risk, but also give them that kind of like sink or swim, figure it out type thing.
Absolutely.
So whether it's been the players that we work with or the trainers that we work with or videographers or interns or anybody that we've had a chance to work with, finding a really good balance of helping a lot of people help themselves, that's been like the biggest thing.
I love that. I love that you're like providing the platform, and just like you said, like now it's just up to them, like how
Mhm.
hard you want to work, how many hours you want to put in, but the success could be
Yeah.
monumental if they, have the right mindset.
Mhm.
That's dope, man. I really like that. So let's go into like we're talking about a whole bunch of stuff, right? Like being an influencer, creator, the business side.
That's a lot.
And like I mentioned, we're gonna break it down into three sections. So the first section is just the whole learning phase, which
Okay.
is you being from 16 probably to just recently, where you just learned everything.
Yeah.
How to run a business, how to be a trainer, how to put out content, all that kind of stuff. So the first question I want to ask you, and it's important for me, and I think the listeners to know, is like, what's your daily routine look like? Like, what does your daily schedule kind of look like?
Yeah. Wake up, and reply to as many emails, DMs, and text messages that come through. I try to get that out of the way as much as possible.
Mhm.
So, people are like, oh, I want to schedule this class or can I come in for this class? Oh, sorry, there's no room here. There's room here. Things like that. Um, oh, I have a 13-year-old boy. Where do you think they would fit? Da, 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 da. So like trying to get back to everybody, as much as possible. And then now I've been trying to take some more time to work out myself a little bit. So I'll try to like at least lift some weights myself. Talk to my trainers, let them know if there's anything that's important that's coming up or anything. Talk to my videographers if there's anything important that I need them to shoot. Um, and then usually early afternoon, we'll head to the gym.
Mhm.
If there's some content that we need to film, we'll go ahead and get that done and film it. Whether it be personal for like Instagram or whether it be um, personal for YouTube or whether it's for I Love Basketball TV, one of the companies I work for, and shoot all their tutorials.
Cool.
We'll try to go in early afternoon and shoot all those tutorials, and then from either 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock or 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock, we'll run all of our workouts. So either, like I said, either I'll be running them or I'll have my trainers run them. If they're running them, then I'll be on social media, like either doing some, certain things like that, trying to get more people to know about my shooting programs, to get more people to know about, other things, to build the text community, to do whatever it is, right? I mean, there's a
So
million
many
things
things.
on
Yeah.
social media. Yeah. Or trying to reply to some people, whatever it is. So either social media or I'll be making phone calls about new merch that we want to put out, or about consultations about hiring people, about bringing in interns, or trying to talk to different companies about brand deals, or trying to like now trying to, I'm trying to talk to companies about sponsoring the new gym.
Right.
So pretty much just doing all like the back end stuff. Um, Either while they're running the classes, or if not, then I'm running the classes. So that's it right now. Um, and then the biggest thing that we're trying to do is just build the website to make everything more seamless.
Mhm.
So that way when people come in, they're like, oh, okay, there's space here, there's space here, there's space here. My 13-year-old would fit here. My 10-year-old would fit better here. These classes are for players with more experience. These classes are for players with less experience. Just really like understanding better. Oh, you can upsell into 2 classes a week instead of one. So all those things are what we're really trying to build out. So that way, if I do walk away, it's so seamless, it's easy. Um, Anybody can take care of it. So right now, the biggest thing is just kind of like putting down a very, very, very strong foundation.
Yeah, I like it. I like that you're focusing on that, trying to just improve the customer experience. So, like you said, you can just run seamless, and you guys don't have like all these little hiccups coming up.
Mhm.
As though basically your day is just full, man. Just full of being an entrepreneur and
Yeah.
figuring things out as you go, and just making sure you get a
And then
million tasks
I'll
done.
come home at, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, and if, if I can, I'll eat and go to sleep. Sometimes I'll go see some family if I can see some family, and that's it, yeah.
So let me just talk about the diet for just a second. I didn't really have this written down, but how important is that to you? Are you having like just throughout the day? Because actually, one of the people on Instagram asked, like, what does Ryan do for food throughout the day?
Um, yeah, so actually I have someone who hooked me up with, like, food prep,
Okay,
so I get
that
meals
makes
like that.
sense.
So, like, I'll eat something at home, and then I'll go, and then while I'm at the gym, then I'll eat, whatever food prep I have, and then if I need to eat another one, I'll eat another one. But that's
Yeah,
about
so
it.
it's easy. So it's already prepackaged. You
It's
kind of just
already
whip it out, eat it. Me
yeah,
and Dev did that for a while in LA. That saved so much time, bro.
yeah, it's nice. It's really
So okay, that's cool. So let's go into this whole this question I'm going to ask you is like, do you think that you are an influencer? And if you don't, like, how do you like to classify yourself? Because some people just don't like to be like, yeah, I'm an influencer.
I mean, technically, as far as like what the word, implies, I
Yeah.
guess, in both aspects. I mean, I do think I influence people in a good way. One, because you get millions of messages. Sorry to roll my eyes. I'm just trying to think of all the freaking DMs that come through. But in a good way, you get millions of messages of a lot of people that are like, "Hey, dude, I changed my shot and you helped so much, this, that, etc." Like, you put out a video once that said to work out 2 to 3 times a day and to focus on recovery and to do this. Like, I understand how to do that now. Like, I didn't know how to work out before. So yeah, you are influencing a lot of people in a positive way. And then I guess technically when it comes to like social media and like brand deals and this and that, whatever, like, yes, you are an influencer. So yeah, I guess so. You could say that.
Fair enough. So when did you first start seeing yourself as an influencer? Like, did you realize like when it was like when it clicked, like, oh shit, like this is like what I'm
Nah,
gonna become?
um, so I mean, Instagram itself was pretty easy to grow on. What 4 years ago before they switched up everything.
Yep.
So I had hit about 100K and it was pretty cool. I was like, oh yeah, like, I'm one of the few guys who has like, one of the few trainers who has 100K.
Right.
That's so exciting. And then like I understood it more, so I started giving other people advice and telling them, but I never really thought of myself as like an influencer because I wasn't making like money off of it. I was just like, cool, whatever. I have 100K, but yeah, I didn't know how to monetize it. And then this year when the quarantine happened, obviously was the best thing ever for me because Mikey and Jazair and Overtime and Ball
Yep.
is Left and all that was getting posted all at the same time, and then Flight and Brawadis and Phase Rug, like it was insane.
Crazy.
I'd grown to from 100 to 200K, like in a few months. It was nuts, which was pretty cool. And that's when I guess you could say it more. But then I realized like once that was over, your like fame and stardom, like it's it's so sporadic because one day this guy's hot and the next day this guy's hot and this guy's hot and this guy's hot. So it's like hard to be really, really, really consistent because people are just all about the current trend. So I mean, I don't look at it like that. And I don't ever have kids that come to my gym and go, "Oh my God, our two people, oh my God." I mean, we make it so normal because it should be like you should just, yo, what's good, bro? Like, what's going on?
It's like little bros,
That's,
just super
that's
chill.
all it is. Yeah. So I don't really see any of that. So I mean, I guess one day when I have kids that are like crying when they see me, then I guess I can see it like that. But I don't want that. I just want to have people up like normal. So
Yeah. No, I like that. That's kind of the same mentality Dev had. Like, just keep it super chill. Just kind of what up, let's hang out, and that's it.
that's it. Yeah.
Um, okay, cool. So I think I kind of already know the answer for this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Just kind of see if you kind of switch up the answer a little bit. But longevity is obviously like the name of the game, right? You'll
Yeah.
have all kind of influencers or whatever you want to call them, creators, YouTubers, on kind of stuff pop up. They'll be hot for a year or 2 years, then they'll fall off for whatever reason,
Yeah.
right? So they don't really understand the long game. And from the conversation we already had, I'm starting to understand your long game more
Hmm.
by diversifying the business, by potentially opening another gym and just doing other things.
Yeah.
What do you think is the most important thing for you when it comes to like, hey, I'm R2 people, I'm at 200K right now. I'm going to keep growing, but I'm going to be here for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Like for you, what does that like? What does that look like? What's the most important thing to allow that?
I think it's just a continuous of pushing and helping more and more people as you continue to go, which will build a core foundation of the people who are receiving and find value in what you do.
Mm,
Because a lot of people will follow you for different reasons, whether it motivates them, whether it's information, whether it's entertainment. So for me and for what I do, the entertainment side does less. Um, I guess you could say like my YouTube and stuff like that is cool. I guess it's entertainment, but a lot of times I love the information side. And the information, like it sells, it's cool. It's not as sexy, so people don't really like,
yeah, of course.
you know. Um, so I guess like for me more the long game is to own the gym, to own a second gym, and to do a ton of like tutorials and things online and sell shooting programs and finishing programs and partner with like you've seen my guy Dominic, partner with him on
Yep.
like dribbling programs and work with whoever I can to continue just to provide and consult more and more people and things like that. So that's like really the long game for me because as long as I keep like helping people along the way, I've always said like if you help one trainer, you help 100. You help one coach, you help
I'll
100
be more.
players.
Yeah.
So as long as I'm helping more, like, I guess at the end of the day, it's going to turn more from, I guess, helping players to then helping trainers, or both, right? Which is like a super win.
Mhm.
Um, so pretty much just that is the biggest thing for us.
No, I like that. Just kind of building off that, I guess. Obviously, like, is it fair to say like one of your specialties is like shooting?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so that's what I thought. Obviously, from all the content, everything I've seen, plus the shooting programs and whatnot. So let's talk about this because I've always wanted to ask you about this, bro. Um, you started shooting with both hands,
Yeah.
right? You started. So the first question I have is, like, how did that, like, why did that even come to your mind? Like, what was the point of that?
Two reasons. It was really timely when it happened. So if you remember Andre Roberson, he was one of the guys who was like in the league and he was shooting, and they were, I think they were hacking him and Rondo and like a few other players. So they were hacking all these guys, and the NBA was like, dang, like, do we need to change the hack a Shack rule? Like, should we give him the
Mhm.
ball back? Should we do this? Should we do that? Like, what do we have to do? And I'm sitting here like, bro, there is no way that these professional, like, $1 million players cannot hit free throws consistently, whatever reason. Like, I've seen kids who can hit like 80 out of 100. There's no way you can't do this. And you have
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
money, all the resources. You can call Dev, you can call me, you can call like you can call you can call Jay, you can call whoever you want,
yeah.
pay whatever price, and work on your free throws. Like, it's not that hard. And then I also broke my hand. So
Okay, okay, yeah.
it was really timely. So my hand's broken, so I couldn't even use it. So I'm like, perfect. I get a clean slate. I get to start from scratch. I get to find out how hard it is to become a shooter, because I couldn't do that. My right hand was already good. So I was like, great. I've never practiced my left hand before. So let me start
From
from
scratch.
scratch, see how
Yeah.
long it takes. So I'm sitting here doing form shots. Dude, it took 4 to 6 months to be like a solid shooter. The last time I shot 100 threes with my left hand, I made a like real, like either 69 or 70. And this was like international threes. It was not high school
The
threes.
real
So like
stuff. Yeah.
international threes, I'm hitting like 70%. Right now, I probably can't do it unless I, like, go train for a couple
Yeah.
weeks or so and get it back. But the fact that I can hit 70% of my threes with my left hand, and some people couldn't hit half of them, that's not okay.
That's crazy. So it took you said 4 to 6 months to kind of get that base down, and now
Yeah.
you've been doing that for like a few years since you
Yes.
mastered it, kind of.
Yeah. Since I was like 18. So
Oh yeah,
yeah.
so it's been a minute
Yeah.
because I remember like, and I could be wrong about this, but I think one of like the first like before we had like, even known about like RT people, I was like one of the first things I'd seen on social media was like, oh, there's like a trainer who can like shoot with both hands,
Yeah.
and I remember being like, that's wild because I struggle to shoot with one hand.
Hmm.
So like the fact that you were able to like
Switch.
understand that and just be able to teach yourself like break down the mechanics, I guess, and just like you say if you never use your left hand, it's not easy,
No.
but like you just put your time and effort into it and kind of did it. So how does that? So like let's say you're playing someone, right? Because this is what I want to ask you. This is more just a hooper asking you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You're playing someone. Let's say you're playing Dev or whatever.
Okay.
Do you have the ability? Let's say your left hand was warmed up, right? Do you have the
Yeah,
ability to shoot either way,
I
or is it
could.
like is it not that easy?
No, I could. If it's warmed up, yeah, you
Oh,
can.
oh, bro.
It's funny. I was with Dev at Price one day, and I forget who was there. Him and his boys were there, right? And I used to, I still do. I like this move where I jab to the right and just pull up with my right hand. But then what happened was, I think I did it like twice, and then this dude like pressed up on my right hip. So I just put the ball on my left hip, and I just shot it with my left hand. I missed it, but I was like real close, and the dude was like, "What the heck? There's no way." Um, but it looks just perfect. It feels fine. So if it's warmed up, yeah, I could. I wouldn't really do it off the bounce as much. I could, but I would do it more like off a triple threat. I feel more comfortable. I've done it a few times, like like unconsciously.
It's crazy.
Like very very rare. Like I did a turnaround fade and someone was about to block the right hand, and I just went like that. Uh,
That's so weird, bro. That's crazy.
but it's really, yeah, it's really rare.
No, that's really dope. Do you think one day, because basically when I saw you doing that and I see you like do it more, I was like, man, like one day I was imagining like an NBA superstar who goes to the Hall of Fame
Mhm.
because he has a nasty handle, he's athletic, and he can pull from either hand. Do you actually think that's something that can happen?
I think there's going to be someone eventually who's going to do it, but I don't know. I don't think that they're going to be like prolific. Um, that's a that's a
That's what
different,
I
like,
wonder.
it's
Like that the
it's
next
hard
step.
enough it's hard enough to be prolific with one hand.
That is true.
So
True.
So to be prolific with both is I couldn't see a Hall of Famer doing it. Like, even if you dedicate your whole life to basketball, most people still can't even shoot proficient with one hand.
It's true.
So to be able to do that with both hands is hard enough. And then like on your brain, it's not easy too to like to understand how to pick the ball up differently every single time, especially off of different moves and off the bounce. Like you would just have
Yeah,
to
that would
practice
take a lot of reps.
twice as much time on to do on like doing it. I could definitely like I've seen people working on it before, where they'll kind of switch off back and forth and do things. I'm like, good, that's really good for touch. I wouldn't teach it, but for those people who have it
Right.
and understand like it's not bad for touch, but I couldn't imagine being in a game and like hitting you with a move and then pulling up with the left and then pulling up with the right and like going back and forth
Yeah, yeah.
and being able to make that split second decision because a lot of that is like this you already make a split second decision to like pull the ball outside or pull the ball this way when you get a
Right.
shot. So now you're like having to do this or like certain things like while your hands are in different positions is not easy.
Yeah, that's why. Well, I hope one day we'll see what happens. It'll take a special talent, that's for sure.
Not for sure.
So one of the most asked questions that came from Instagram, obviously, as you can imagine, was like, "Yo, can Ryan give us some shooting tips?"
Okay.
I'm sure you give out tons on. This is the same thing that happens with Dev.
Yeah.
Hey, can Dev give us some dribbling tips? So he'll have like 1,000 videos on YouTube and
Yeah.
Instagram, but like
There's
they
still a
won't
lot
read it.
to say. Yeah.
But do you have a few tips you can give out? Maybe that it could be a new one or something that they don't always think about.
Oh my God. A new one? I'm trying to think. I give away so many, man.
I can
Uh,
imagine.
I'll keep it pretty simple. Usually I say, shoot with good form and shoot every day. That's what I tell people. Like that to me,
That's
that's
good.
the simplest secret. Um, the other thing is when I had worked on my jump shot a lot, I did it until the point where missing felt weird. I think I've talked about this before in a video. Um, but I would shoot like I did 10 dribble pull-ups straight until I made 10 in a row, and then I would do it the other way, and then the other way, and then the other way, and then the other way until I hit 10 in a row. And then I would like play with different moves. Like I remember there's one day I would do like a one-legged shot. I was working on this jab, one leg
Ooh.
shot, and I did it until I could hit 10 in a row. And then eventually, like I would get into the gym, and when I was playing heavily, I would go out and shoot step backs, pull ups, this, that, catch and shoot, whatever. And missing just didn't feel like it was supposed to happen. So I guess until you get that feeling, you're not a good shooter. And a lot of that has to do with players that move back too early. So just staying as close as you can is one of the
Yeah.
most important things. But yeah, that feeling is a different kind of feeling. I'm sure everyone's had that feeling once in their life where they've just gotten really hot, but you're supposed to feel like that every day. So
I totally get that. I think that's a good tip too, because like I think a lot of young athletes do get too excited and like they won't, because you don't want to do the boring stuff. You don't want to form shoe and just get your shot down from close range. They just want to like shoot the three. They want to make it look nice. So I think that's like a really good way to summarize it. Like just take your time and focus on the small stuff.
oh, you know what? I actually haven't talked about this. I talked about it like a
Okay.
little bit, but not enough. Okay, the other thing is a self-bias. Millions of players have a self-bias, especially children, where if I asked 100 kids, "Are you a shooter?" I can guarantee that about 75 of them are gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I'm a shooter."
For sure.
And then you ask them to shoot 100 free throws and they walk away making less than 60. And I'm like, "You're not a shooter."
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe 10 of them will do it, but for some reason, 75 of them want to tell me that they're a shooter. So I think the biggest thing players need to do is start to track that, like start to track their shooting more and to measure it. That's probably one of the best tips I can give because not enough kids do that. They'll all tell you, "Oh, I'm a shooter. I'm a shooter. Oh, yeah, I can hit it from deep." I'm like, "Yeah, well, how many times? Like, you're going to take, you
Exactly.
know, you'll make 2 out of 10. That's not hitting from
I
deep."
hit
So
it from deep. Yeah.
just tracking it more is one of the biggest things.
No, I like that. So we'll move kind of into like this the growth section. So like basically, like I said, learning growth championship. I think a lot of us right now, like me and Dev are in the growth stage. I think you are in the growth stage as well. Because right now you're just learning. You're growing everything in your business.
Yeah.
So the first thing is obviously like how important content and social media is because at the end of the day, it is literally everything for what we're trying to build right now for all of us.
Hmm.
So content creation, of experienced it with Dev, even just myself trying to make basic content. Like sometimes it can take a toll on you. It can add up like very quick. So
Yeah.
how do you handle creating content? Because like you said, you have to make content for your socials, TikTok, I love basketball. You may have a Snapchat. You know what I mean? You may have all these different
Yeah.
platforms. How do you best handle it? Is it because you have a video editing team helping you pump it out?
Yeah. What's really unfortunate about social media is that they punish you. for not being on social media.
Yeah, it's a
Well,
big fact. Yeah.
it sucks because I know millions of creators that would love to just be like, you know what, I'm gonna take a 2 week hiatus. I'm gonna take a month hiatus off of social media.
Mhm.
And then you come back and people forgot that you existed.
Yep.
Like it's like, oh,
Sad truth.
you know, and all your engagement drops and this and that. So it really sucks like that you have to be in people's face 24/7 to even be relevant nowadays. Because if not, then somebody else will.
Someone else. Yep.
Um, so it's just a super competitive market. I'll tell you one thing about social media that I learned maybe like 3 or 4 years ago is that you have to offer entertainment, information, or some sort of motivation. And if you can do all three, you win.
Yep.
Those are the biggest people. I mean, you look at any page and you can tell me that they offer all three. Um, so that's number one. But it's not easy. I mean, I try to post once a day on Instagram, but if I don't, I don't cry over it.
Yeah. Not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world. I hope that my numbers look good, but if they don't, I won't cry over it. I'll just study it and be like, okay, well, maybe people don't like this type of content now. Maybe I posted too much of this content. Maybe I'll try something different.
Mhm.
And then I'll try something different, and then either it works or it doesn't work. Or I'll try to collaborate with someone different, and then it works or it doesn't work. Or I'll try to funnel people through a different zone and it works and doesn't work. But you get to the point eventually where, like, yes, you want your social media to continue to grow always. But if you end up with 1 million followers and have zero customers, you're not playing the game the right way.
Exactly.
So understanding how to grow your social media, but more importantly for me right now is to grow my customers because my main number one business that I understand and know how to grow the best is the gym, like understanding how to run a basketball
Right.
gym and how to train. So if my social media can convert to players wanting to train with me and train with me, and then and it brings you through the door, that's what I need. When I open up a second gym, I'm going to need 200 more players to walk through that door. So that power is huge for getting more players in the gym with me. And I don't care why you came in the gym, as long as once you're there, you understand how to work and get better. So if because Flight was in the gym and that's why you want to come train with me, I don't care. Like
Right.
that can be the reason, that can be the only reason you want to come train with me. As long as once you come to the gym, you understand how to put in the work. Um, so like TikTok, I try to post twice a day, 3 times a day
Yep.
sometimes. But if I don't, it's not the end of the world. Same thing with Instagram. And then YouTube, I try to post once, twice a week. Um, so it's tough. It's a lot, but I
It
don't,
adds up quick.
I
So
don't-
let me ask you this: do you do all the video production yourself, like the editing, or do you actually have a team that's helping you film it and edit it? To
so for YouTube, I have somebody else film and edit.
okay.
I mean, now I'm at the point where I just have someone else do the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, if it's one person, cool. If not, then I'll just tell them to send it to the editor, who's somebody else. So YouTube, I don't touch that because that takes way too long. For Instagram and TikTok, they're pretty quick, short. I do everything about 15-second content, so I'll post things on there myself.
Okay. Fair enough. Do you ever feel pressured? Like social media is a lot, right? You
Yeah.
ever feel pressured? Like I know you're a little bit chill. Like you said, if you don't post, tomorrow, it's all good. But do you ever feel like there's actual like pressure to post, to put out high quality content, to keep elevating yourself?
Yeah, there is at times. Uh, it's annoying because obviously, like the numbers just are never consistent.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
like I know some people who have like 70,000 followers and they'll get over 100,000, 200,000 views on every reel they post.
Mhm.
And I was like, dang, man, like that's really nice. Like, and
Yeah.
I look at the content and it's good content, but it's not crazy good. Like, and then I'll look at some other people's content that's like the worst content ever, but then it hits like millions of views. I'm like, why? And then I'll try to like I'll sometimes I see some of the best production I've ever seen and it won't do numbers. And I'll see some of the worst production and it'll do numbers, and then vice versa. So it's all over the place, right?
Crazy. Yep.
So it's really hard to study it and understand like what works and what doesn't. So because it's so random and all over the place, I don't feel pressure because I'm like, well, if I go all out, it might not do good. And if I do
Yeah.
nothing, it might not
Go
do good.
crazy. Yeah.
And sometimes it will. So like what I've noticed is the one thing that has done really, really well, um, has been like drama and beef, which has always been the case,
Mhm.
right? Which is unfortunate. Devin Friga did it.
Yep.
J Law's been doing it with Xavier Ray
Yep.
Mays. They've had that like go back and forth. So back and forth has always like been a good thing. I don't really have any back and forth because most of my stuff is informational, not like competitive. But I guess finding a way to just, I don't know. It's weird. So
I
going back to your question, like, no, I don't feel a lot of pressure from it because it's just so random that even if you put your heart and soul to it, it might not hit today. It'll hit, eventually.
never know. Yep.
So as long as I do it consistently every day or every other day, something will hit. So no, I don't feel pressure.
Yeah. I think it's good that you kind of said it like that too, because one crazy thing that I think people get really fed up with is like the algorithms of how
Mhm,
each app works. I've been lucky to like study some of these algorithms and just be a part of different groups that know them.
mhm.
And even inside of the groups or like what I learned, people still don't get it. And they're like the heads or like they're a part of the, the brands. And it's like, it's ever changing. And that's why you said like, I like how you pose it. Like, it's okay. Like this video is going to get 10K and the next week's video, which is, shot on a potato is going to get 1 million. And that's social media in a nutshell,
Mhm.
especially TikTok.
Yeah, big time.
And, that's why I like how you said, like, just cause like, I know there's going to be a lot of young listeners from your audience and ours who's just like, who are going to take from this and like they need to understand like it's okay to
Yeah,
start small, to not get all the likes and views you want, just like build it up over time.
yeah, it's okay. Like the most important thing is consistency. So no, I don't feel
Yep.
pressure. Yeah.
Yep. No, consistency is a big key. So do you have any like every creator is like I said, is going to be different. Dev, Marcellus, everyone's going to give a different answer to this question. So what do you think? Do you have any like tips or tricks that you could give to the listeners right now? Let's say they're a trainer. Let's say they're trying to come up and be an influencer in terms of like putting out content or content creation or posting on social platforms. Just kind of any tip.
Yeah, so those three things. You either have to offer entertainment, information, or motivation, and the
Yep.
best accounts offer all three. And then, obviously Gary Vee talks about a lot about like how you integrate yourself in the community. I have certain people who I have seen in my comments, in Dev's comments, in J Law's comments, and always pretty positive things or informational things where they're
Right.
interacting with our, fans or followers or whatever or supporters. Um, so like I recognize that and I see that. I'm like, oh, I've seen that name or I've seen that profile or I've seen that person
Right.
very often. So if they're looking to become or get into the trainer space, well, it makes a lot of sense to comment on all the trainer stuff, and then we'll see you. And when one day you direct message us, then I'll be like, oh, I'm more inclined to respond to this guy.
100%. Yeah.
Um, and I'm sure it happens to all of us too. Like we'll get a million DMs from people who are just like, yo, can you help me with this? Can you give me advice on this? Can you help me with this? Well, it also is a different approach if one day you come and say, I can offer this for you, right? And where, whether it's free work or whether it's, helping with this or helping us with that, like now, okay, I'm more inclined to go ahead and respond. And then whatever you
Yeah.
need from me, I can go ahead and do for you. So, um, like one of the biggest ways to kind of like force yourself and stick your foot into the door with whatever community or people that you aspire to be like is just to be
Be
annoying
active.
without
Yeah.
being
Like
annoying. Yeah.
be
You know,
active in there. Like you said,
yeah.
I think that's a great way to put it. Cause like a lot of people, they'll get scared to comment or they won't want to put themselves out there.
Yeah.
But it's the people who just take the risk and put themselves out there who like may get noticed by you or
Oh,
someone
shoot.
else.
Funny story about that. So do you know 90-10 training?
I think I've heard
Okay, so
of
I think
the
he
name.
has like 200 and something thousand followers on Instagram and
Okay.
like like close to 500,000 on TikTok. So one day, either he commented on something or someone's video, or I seen it, or he liked one of mine, whatever it was, or he followed me, and I probably had 100 something thousand at the time, and I saw this guy had about 1,000 followers, but he did a really good job with his. He had about two videos, and they were solid videos. So I called him one day. I was
Okay.
like, like Peter, dude, you post some good content. He's like, yeah, man, it's real quality work, but like it takes us so long to post. I was like, listen, social media is weird. Just post every day. Like you'll figure it out. And the guy now has, like I said, those big numbers because he took that advice and he ran with it. And he just like he posted every day. He offered people information. He was posting great tutorials,
Mhm.
other things like that. He almost 500,000 on TikTok, 200,000 on Instagram. He's getting
Right.
all these
Yeah.
brand deals, doing all these awesome things. And I was like, damn, man, like you're probably doing better than I am right now. Like,
The
but
simplest advice that takes you the furthest sometimes.
crazy. But I mean, I'm super happy for the guy, right? Super happy for the guy. And just if anyone wants to do exactly what he's doing, I mean, that's all I told him. I was like, just post every day.
So
You'll figure out what people like the more you post. So
yeah. I agree. It's just all a learning process. So just staying on that because this is a good transition to this. Do you think there's something that sets you apart from the other trainers? out there right now? Because it's obviously like not that s- I mean, I guess you could say it's kind of getting saturated because like now they're
It's
just coming out of
yeah,
the
come on.
woodworks.
Yeah.
So as we continue to build for the next 5 years, is there? Do you think there's something that differentiates you?
So I'm actually working on the branding side of that.
Okay.
I'll tell you, like, J Law's obviously done a great job and Dev's done a great job. And it's funny because Devin actually, although he's trained many pros and worked with a lot of
Yep.
NBA guys, doesn't ever post any of that.
Yeah.
Um, which is completely backwards to what most people would do.
Yeah. Of course.
Um, and J Law works with a ton of pros and he has his pro runs and things, so he's attracting a lot of pros. Uh, it's so weird. Like my main demographic of the people that I want to train for business is middle school and younger
Mm,
because those kids are so consistent. Their parents bring them. It's cheap, it's low maintenance. I don't have to charge them a crazy price because like at that level, they're not hitting you the same way that high school kids are hitting you, and the contact is different. So your body, you know what I'm saying? It's easier.
it's easier for
Um,
you. Yep.
it's easier to manage, but the rate of progress is so much higher for those kids. And that foundation is so important. So the main demographic of the people that I want to train is middle school kids. However, when it comes to posting and social media, you know the game. You got to post your pros, which is not what Devin does, but for most people, you post your pros
Yep.
and then maybe the occasional kid here or there. Devin is kind of backwards. He'll post the kids
Yep.
and not the pros,
Yep.
but he gets the pros, which is so weird because most people don't do it like that.
Yeah.
So as far as like the branding, what I don't like about my branding right now is I don't want to be looked at as a guy who trains, flight and and I love Jay Jones, flight and I love flight and Jay Jones and White Iverson and these guys. Like I love collaborating with them, and their platform brings me more people who watch my content
Of
and,
course.
and
Yep.
realize how good of a trainer I am and how much I can help them, and then it seeks that support. So for the kids, I'm reaching the exact demographic I want to reach. However, I do want to work with more pros because I want to help Ben Simmons. And I want to help other guys who need to learn how to shoot better because I have that knowledge and I can teach it. And because I have access to a gym and maybe two someday, well, fucking come live with me,
Yep.
for a couple weeks at a time and let me help change your life for the better and make you a much better shooter. And then once I help, let's say I help Ben Simmons or whoever else can't shoot the ball that well, I help them become a much better shooter. Well, now all these kids are like, Coach Ryan, R2, like, you're such a good shooting coach. How do I get that access? And so then more and more people are seeking my information. And then I can help more people through giving them my shooting programs or giving them shooting advice or whatever. So the biggest thing for me is I want to train more of those like pros and things like that. So that way I can reach more kids and help more kids. I mean, you understand what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
100%.
So, I mean, that's like a huge reason as to why I want to do it. And obviously it's also nice to help guys like Ben Simmons and things like that. But you help Ben Simmons, you end up helping a million kids because they're going to seek that information too.
Yep.
So, um, I'm trying to work on more of like that branding side. A big problem with why I don't get as many pros is because my gym is so small. So have I trained many pros and can I train pros and things in my gym? Yes, I can, but I know that they would enjoy at least half a court. So,
Yeah. They're used to like the big stuff,
mhm,
kind of like how
you
J
know,
Law does. Yeah. For sure.
exactly. Whether it's not a full gym, even if it's just half a gym, definitely something like that would help a ton. And don't get me wrong, I love doing all the influencer stuff. All that is cool. I mean, you've seen I guess J. Cole kind of put it best when he made the song Workout
Mhm.
and it was just a hit single for the radio. But he's like, but this is not my real music. Like my
I,
real
I
music
got
is,
you. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So like this is not my real training. Like my real training is actually developing kids. I had a kid who played zero high school ball, ended up playing or ended up signing an NBA contract. So like I know I can train and I know I could teach
That's
and
right.
help like so many kids. But if I'm posting 10-year-olds, like that's not that cool. It's not that sexy unless it's a certain, way or thing. Like you can document it and make it more like that's
Certainly.
why I'm jealous of Dev. That's why I'm super jealous of Dev because he could make a 10-year-old kid look like awesome,
Yeah.
you know, um, just by how you deliver that content. So I want to work on learning how to do that better. I think that's huge for me is learning how to like post kids and make it look awesome and feel awesome, make other kids want to train with me because those kids are in the progress. So like documenting that better, but also working with more pros to then reach more kids and help and also help more pros. And you help more pros, you help more kids, you work with more people. So it's really a lot
Right.
that I want to
Expanding your
do.
reach. Yep.
Yeah, just
Uh,
expanding the reach, but a big part of that is credibility because I think I do have a lot of credibility from people who know me, but you look at the old heads sometimes and they go, "Oh, who's this guy? He's training flight, like he's training, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. I can see that for sure.
and you see that side of it where it's like, what is this? This guy's a bum or whatever. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Like, I think Flight is one of the most like the nicest people I've ever had a chance to meet ever. Like, I'm dead serious when I say that. Um, him and B Dot is such a great so like
Mhm.
some of these guys are just like really the nicest people. And I love working with them, but that's not,
That's just
training.
not what you want to
They're-
do long term. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
No,
So
that makes sense. And I appreciate the fact that you're so honest and open with all this kind of stuff because it
yeah,
just gives good context to everything. So this is perfect transition because we talked about this a little bit, but obviously like the hoop house. Because the first thing I want to ask you is you kind of told the story about how the hoop house came about and how you were able to get your foot in the door. And now it's established as like this is yours, this is your home court. So going into the second gym, do you think there's potential that it will be a full size court? Like, what do you have plans for that yet?
I don't want a full size court. I just want another half court. But I want so currently our space is 50 by 20.
Okay.
So we're cut off right on the high school line. So
Oh, okay.
the new space I'm looking at, or new spaces I'm looking at, I want 60 by 30 or about 60 by 26 or something like that. Is what the current space is looking like. Or like one of the ones I'm looking at. So that would give me a full NBA 3-point line, and it would give me like a lot of feet downhill as well, to go downhill. So the only reason
That'd
why
be
I
dope,
say
yo.
I want a half court and not a full court is because it's just so much easier to manage.
Yeah.
So much easier to manage. I mean, and I like to be stress free. I
Yeah,
don't
of
like
course.
having stress.
Having a
I don't
gym
like,
can be a lot. People, I don't think realize like how much maintenance and cost that can go into all that stuff.
yeah, people are always like, "Oh my God, I need a gym. I need a full gym." I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You look at my little, like, even less than a half court, and I kill it in there, because we train over, I told you this, it's impossible. Like, how you get a court that's smaller than a half a court and you train over like damn near
Yeah,
200
it's
kids.
impressive, bro. Honestly, like it's very impressive.
It's you have to really understand how to utilize the space correctly
Mhm.
to one, train in there, two, to run a business in there, and to manage like all those people so that way no one's complaining about how many people are in there or this or that and whatever else is going on. Like, is hard, it's not easy, but if you know how to do it, then you master that space and you don't need a full court.
100%. So let me ask you this. Obviously, it was a massive breakthrough for you when you first were able to like secure and get this gym.
Mhm,
Had you not, just devil's advocate, had you not got this gym,
mhm.
do you have any idea like where you could be right now? Or was the gym like just so critical and key for you in your growth to getting to where you are right now?
It was the most important thing to ever happen to me.
Okay, that's
Um,
crazy.
However, when I was about 2 years prior to getting the gym, I, told myself, like, if you train at least one kid every single day, something good will happen. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Um, if you post every day and you train every day and you connect with people every day and you just grow your business slowly, something good will happen. So that's what I did. What would have came out of that? I don't know. I might have been driving around the entire city, running this camp and this clinic and doing this and doing that and doing this and doing that. But, pandemic hits and you're screwed and all that's gone, so where would I be right now in the middle of the pandemic? Probably doing nothing, or
You
probably
just
doing
don't
very
know.
little.
Yeah, you just don't know.
I probably just would have drove to Irvine and just worked with Jordan, or drove to LA and worked with Dev
Right.
and figured out, doing something like that. But the gym was the biggest thing for me. So I mean, I know that at the end of the day, if I did what I had to do consistently every single day, which I did for like what I got the gym 2 years ago. So if I did what I had to do every day for 5 years, which I did, I had no social life. Um, I just trained every day. Then something good would happen eventually. And I got lucky. I got the gym at the same time I graduated, so it worked out.
It's crazy, man. It's honestly such a cool story. So inside the gym, like I said, you had a lot of like dope viral stuff that happened this year. And I think Mikey and Jaw were like a big part of that. Obviously, you could throw Flight in there and kind of some other guys too. Do you have like this may be hard to define because it's probably really dope energy just being in that gym, but do you have like some favorite moments
A
in
few.
that gym? Let's say the gym was just, you're moving to a different country tomorrow and you're leaving that gym behind.
Yeah. What would I like look back
Yeah,
on?
what would you be like, man? Like I'm almost gonna tear up thinking about these memories.
Okay, I got a few. I got a lot actually.
Okay.
I'll tell you about the kids first before I tell you about the ones that you don't
Okay.
know. When Flight hit like
Oh,
the fake hook shot on
that's
Jazier,
hilarious, bro.
We worked on that move like just recently. That was the one of the coolest things ever. I'm sorry, Jazier. I love Jazier, but when he hit that fake on Ja and then put it up, that was amazing. Um, what else? When it was a really cool moment. So when Mikey and his brother came to train for the first time, their dad put them through the workout, right?
Oh, okay.
And so about halfway through, Mikey's like, "Oh, I want to do something different. Like I want to work on different parts of my game." And so I told their dad, Malon, I was like, "Hey, if you're okay with it, I'll put him through a couple drills." And his dad goes, "Okay, no problem." So I put him through some drills, and you could see like the tempo just went up like 20, like 20 times
Right.
between Mikey and Marvin. Like they went so much harder all of a sudden because the drills were what I mean, they just enjoyed them. They liked them and it made them push them, push and go hard. About 5, minutes through the drills, their dad just walked away. And to me, like that was one of the coolest things. I was like, I have his respect, I have his blessing. Like this is a kid who anybody would love to train
Yep.
and do anything for to train this kid. Um, I never looked at it like that. Like I never seek players. I'll never tell them like, oh, you got to come train with me. Like if they want to, they'll seek me. So, he came and his dad like pretty much gave me the blessing to train his kids. The next day they came again and I was unsure, like, okay, is your dad gonna put you through the workout? What do you want? He taps me on the shoulder and he's just like, what are we on? So I'm like, okay, Mikey, like let's do this, let's do this. And so from there, we just went like twice a day, every single day. A lot of cool moments with him,
That's great.
and his teammates and Jazier and stuff. But that to me, to have his father just like walk away and give me the respect of like what you're doing, because their dad put him through a lot of good stuff. Like he was like V cuts and back doors and like a lot of basic basketball,
Yeah.
pop out, catch it, shoot it, two dribble, one dribble, this that,
Mhm.
tell him to go hard. So their dad knew the game. Like he really has a good understanding of the game. So seeing that and then having him watch me put them through a workout, that was like really, really cool for him just to be like, oh, you have my respect. You know what you're talking about, because if not, he would have stayed there and corrected
Yeah,
everything I
he
did.
would never give you the opportunity. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is great.
Um,
Which is great. Okay, that's dope.
then Mikey brought Bryce Griggs, who was awesome and really, really cool to really, really like he's so talented. Quentin Webb and a bunch of other guys. So it was cool to have all them work out. It was nice having like FaZe Rug and Broadis. Like they were such cool
Okay.
people, so nice. Cash Nasty came through and Kenny came through. Like all those things were
Yeah.
so dope. Like that was such a cool time to see all those guys come through. Um, and then just like competing and playing a lot. Like during that whole quarantine time was so dope because we weren't focusing on running a business. We were just focused on having we were focused on training a few players and just having a really good time. Like we were in the gym and just playing ones and king of the
That's so fun.
court and whatever we wanted, whenever we wanted. Um, so that was dope. But overall, like like I said, we trained so many kids from the ages of like 5 to like 17. So seeing those kids come in every day, one thing that we do is we scream their names when they walk through the door. So like
I
if
like
you
that.
had walked, what I'm saying, if you had walked through the door and I'm like 30 feet away on the other side of the gym, I'm just like, Nav,
Oh, that's sick.
Nav.
I
And
like.
you see the kids like their face just like lights up. They feel like they're welcome. They feel like they're at home. So that is like a huge thing. Like every kid feels like special. They love being there. It's a big family. So that itself, just the culture more than anything, um, is pretty huge.
I just want to say, like, to those listening, it may sound so stupid, honestly, what you just said,
Mhm.
but to me, it's one of the most important things you said because those small things, bro. Like, I know because we do that or I've done in the past. Like those small things, like when that kid's face lights up or when that parent sees, like, oh, the head trainer, whatever, just yelled out
Mhm.
his name and your kid gets hyped to train, like that creates that lifelong relationship. Like they're locked in with you for whatever. Cause like I don't know, man. I love that you just said that. I didn't know that. And it makes me happy knowing that you're like thinking in that
Uh,
kind of way.
we have this like huge 6'5" kid, and he's got a younger brother, and the younger brother's about 8 years old, right? Like he's like 8 years old, but he's built like an 11-year-old kid. Like they're huge. So we call this kid Jake the Beast. One moment, hold on. Let me
Always
get my.
nice.
Yeah, you're good.
We're gonna take a quick pause here while uh while Ryan answers a question, and then we're gonna come right back.
Okay. You're good. So so this kid Jake the Beast, and so every time we see him, everyone loves this kid. He's so exciting. And so we started hosting a 3-on-3 league on Saturdays because none of these kids can play basketball now, especially in California. Like your other option is to go like all the way on the other side of the country to play. So we started hosting a 3-on-3 league, and Jake is just around, he pulls up and he's like dripped out with ice. Like he's got this like, it's all fake. He's got like a chain, he's
Yeah.
got grill, he's got rings, like this kid, it's just like those things are dope because of the culture that we've created of just like happiness and fun, competition, but no like beef ever. And so when like the 3-on-3 league is done, we'll bring all the big kids in, and then I'll bring Jake to the side. I'll be like, oh, Jake, like, what do you want to tell everybody? He's like, good job. And something so simple, everyone's like,
Yeah.
like clapping and loving. And it's like, and those types of things are cool. And like that kid, he came by yesterday, he gave me like $20 and he's like, hey, I want to buy a shirt. And then I also like, we sell them for like $10, bro. We just give them away. And he's like, I want to buy a shirt. And he's like, and I want to buy that kid a shirt. And he points at one kid. I'm like, why? He's like, oh, I just want to get him a shirt. I just want to be a nice guy. And like that doesn't happen everywhere. Like people don't look at other people like that and think of it like a family. And then the other kid is like, no, 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 I can't take it. He's like, oh, well, I'll give it to her. It's her first day here. And I was like, what?
So
Like,
dope.
what 8-year-old thinks like this? He's like, yeah, one day maybe I'll work here at the hoop house. Like, I'm like, oh, that's crazy. Like,
You're cultivating a very unique culture, man. And like big ups to you for doing that because it's a very small amount of people who can do that and like be able to grow that over time. It
yeah,
takes like special people. So I love hearing those stories.
yeah, that's why it's so important that you get the right people on your team,
Oh,
because you can't do all that by yourself. So,
yeah, 100%. Your team, I always say like your team has to be an extension of you.
uh-huh.
So if you're not in the gym or whatever, you want them to to uphold the same standard as you would have been there, right? So
Oh yeah.
it's so important. So just kind of continuing to build off everything, being a creator is very, very important to understand your audience. And I think you actually like from the conversation we've had, you have that down very well. But
Yeah.
I just want to have you define it one more time in this section because
Yeah.
for the listeners, if you guys are hearing this, like if you guys actually go back and listen to the podcast and the way we're structuring stuff, it's really all broken down so you can understand the things you need to focus on. So
I'm busy at
one
the
main
moment.
thing is that pops.
Yeah, it's pops.
Oh, Mr. Razooky.
Hey, good, how are you?
I love it. How you doing, sir?
I'm good.
I'm busy at the moment, if you
I'm
can't
not
tell.
bothered. Sorry about
All right.
This is excellent. He's gonna
Sorry
be
about
he's gonna be YouTube
Amazing.
famous after this for sure.
that. I'm sorry, guys.
Don't apologize at all. This is what I love about the
Oh,
podcast.
yeah,
But
yeah.
basically, bro,
The thing,
He's newly retired. So
sorry, the thing is, every inch of this house is his house. Like I have to ask for permission.
it wouldn't be any other way, right?
My own house that I hard-earned money there. Now he's taken over. It's okay. It's all good.
Love it, man. I love that he's just retired and just chilling too. That's congrats to you.
go ahead, whatever you need.
Sorry about that.
I don't apologize. So, anyways, like I said, so important to know your audience. So, how well do you know your audience right now? Are you a kind of guy that is like going into your YouTube backend and your Instagram analytics? And you're like, okay, I'm 18 to 24 is in the USA, and you're seeing the stats. Like, do you like doing that stuff?
No, I don't look at that stuff enough. I just go more off of feel. So like
Okay.
I told you earlier, if I post something or I post this or I post that and it does well, then you can kind of tell.
Yep.
Like my first 100,000 followers was all people who enjoyed basketball and information. My second 100,000 followers was a lot of people who enjoyed Mikey and Flight. So it's really
It's a
all
mixture
over
right
the
now.
place. Yeah, it's a mixture. Like, I could post something like very basketball teaching and like it'll do okay. You post anything Flight or anything Mikey, it does really, really well.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to like spam that, because I have much more to offer than just that. So I don't look at that stuff a ton. I just try to make sure that whatever direction I go, I can offer something really good for the people.
That makes sense. So with that being said, then what do you think? What is your ideal audience? Like, if you could just like wake up and be like, this is who I'm going to go after.
Yeah.
What do you think?
My ideal audience is a bunch of 12 and under kids, or 15 under kids,
Yeah.
who really, really have a passion and a hunger to grow. Like those are my favorite comments, is the ones of the kids who are like, oh my God, like I learned this and I learned that. And I've been on the right track ever since I watched this video of you doing this and teaching this. Like those are my favorite ones. And the ones who are like asking questions and learning and be like, oh, I like that move you just posted. I'm gonna take that move and I'm gonna work on it. Like those are my favorite, if I could take any audience.
That's dope. That's really dope. So another big part of the whole being a content creator, influencer stuff is you get haters. You get people who just in your DMs or whatever it may be in your comments, just saying kind of whatever. So this is also a big part for the listeners. Like, I know you get it. I'm just assuming because everyone gets it when you get to a certain stage. How do you deal with it? Or what
I
do you do?
delete it. I delete it. I
Yep.
ignore it, or I respond back with typically something just like chill. Like normally some people will be like, "Oh man, you're trash," and I'm like, "Thanks, man," like or whatever. Or they'll be like, "Oh, so and so is terrible at basketball," and then like if they talk about somebody else on my page, I'll just delete it because I don't think that needs to be seen. If they talk about me directly, I'll just be like, "Thanks, man," like or hope you have a good day or something like that,
Yeah.
or ignore it, like whatever.
I think it's funny because a lot of people I see will do that. They think they're like the best trash talkers in the world. And they'll literally pull up to you and they'll just say you're trash. And in their head, they're like, yo, I got this guy. Like I got him. So
Right.
I like that you're responding like just back with positivity or just deleting it. Cause I see a lot of younger creators now that, social media is like it's a big thing. We didn't really talk about it much, but it can mentally affect you
Yeah.
negatively very,
If
very badly.
you're on there and trying to defend yourself 24/7, you're never gonna win. That's
Exactly.
one thing. Like when I'm helping Dominic get on his social media game now, so we can talk more on social media. So
Yep.
I'm helping him get on his game, and so he started posting a lot of things on TikTok, and he's crazy at dribbling. So sometimes he'll like post when there's just him only in the gym, and he's working on his handle, doing 20 moves, and then getting into a shot. And someone's like, "Oh, that's not realistic. I would cook you. I would lock that up." And he's like, so at first he was like, "Bro, pull up, like I'll cook you. You're not standing a chance. I can kill anybody."
Yeah.
This and so I had to tell him, I was like, "Dom, who is user 4567832 in your life? Like, dude, if anybody ever comments something like that ever again, just give them a thumbs up and be like, totally, man. Like, you're probably one of the best defenders ever, dude. Like, congratulations, or just delete it or ignore it. Like, what are you going to gain from defending yourself and telling him that you'll cook him? No, this dude from Arkansas is not pulling up to San Diego to one-on-one you. That's not happening. So, like defending yourself is going to give you absolutely nothing. You want to build a culture where your fans and supporters defend you for you. So if you get to the point where you're hitting all these moves in the saucy and you've taught all these kids all these great moves, you know, like imagine if someone went into Dev's comments right now and said, "Oh, Dev, I would cook you." What's going to happen? 50 kids are going to reply to that guy and be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're right." Like, no
Yeah.
way. And Dev doesn't have to say a word. Like, so if you're having to defend yourself, yeah, social, like it, like I told you, I don't feel any pressure from it. You know, does it suck when your numbers get low? Yeah, but then figure it out. What else can you do? Maybe you try posting else on TikTok, or you try posting on YouTube, or you go somewhere else, or you try posting something different,
Yeah.
or whatever. I mean, but if you get a bunch of hate comments and things, like sometimes that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So it boosts your algorithm, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, the comments always help. So like I said, the comments want to come in, they want to be negative and let them come in.
Yeah,
I like how you're dealing with that. So let's go over this real quick. YouTube, like, I think it's like 140K. Instagram's like almost 250K. TikTok, your TikTok is like a 340K when I checked yesterday or something like that.
yeah,
So social media has definitely been growing for you, obviously, and
yeah.
it's just been evolving over time. So the question I have for you is like, how has your social media evolved over time? Is the main thing just been your consistent content? And obviously now you're injecting Mikey and these guys to kind of boost that a little bit.
Hmm.
And then you're still providing, all of your learning content on top of it. Like, has
Yeah,
anything really changed?
yeah, a lot actually. So like I used to post a lot of like tutorials, and then the tutorials like word to dev, like I started doing voiceovers
Yeah.
on different moves, which people actually really enjoyed because I added music to it and I had the
Mhm.
voiceover and I would copy the move and replicate it and teach it. And then I stopped doing that, and I started posting more training content, and then I started collaborating with so many people, so I started posting more collaborative content. So it's really been all over the place. um, and everything has done well on its own, and everything has not done well on its own. So it's really just all over the place. So would I like to find more direction with it? On TikTok, you don't need it. On YouTube, that one, I'm working on improving that a ton.
Mhm.
I on YouTube, I just was like, like would post anything at first. Um, and now I'm like figuring out, what direction I want my audience to be, and what direction I want, or what things I want them to expect from me. So still just taking time to kind of figure out exactly what I want them to expect from me and what I can offer. Like, as I said, I like to play basketball, for fun, but my stuff is not as competitive as like training is what I'm best at. So I want to mix in some sort of like competitiveness, but like with training. And I want people to view me as like, holy shit, this guy knows his stuff. He really knows how to teach the game. I really would love to
Expert.
learn from him and train from him. He's an expert at what he does. So as long as I can shape my content in a direction that makes people view me as such, and I wouldn't want that if I wasn't good, but I know I'm good. So because of that, I want people to see that and to view it as such, and then to seek out that training or to seek out that knowledge and to view more of my content and more of it like an information basis than anything really.
No,
So
I like
that's
it.
the direction that I want to take. But then, like I mentioned, like workout, like J. Cole, you do post some of that stuff to build your
Platform, yeah.
your reach. So that way, when you do post your important content, people can see that stuff.
100%. No, I like that. So last couple questions before we move into like the championship phase.
Yeah.
What can you categorize or say has been like your biggest failure? I'm sure there's probably been a few like along the way.
Mhm.
Has there been one that sticks out? It's like this has been my biggest failure, and you were able to actually learn and grow from that.
From social media.
Just in general, just you R2B ball from the business side. Maybe it's owning the gym, anything.
I wouldn't call it a failure, but I'll give you an example. So I'm sure you've seen the game where I played Dev, right? So
Yeah,
I played Dev. I lost. Like prior to that, I had not played basketball for months.
yeah.
Like even now, I have not played basketball for months. Like I've trained mostly, maybe shot the ball 100 times in the past couple weeks. So playing basketball is not something that I should have posted a ton or done like for worldwide viewership unless I was training myself. So and this is just all about like the way that you want to be perceived and the character that you want to put out, this, that, whatever, right?
Mhm.
Um, Whereas now, like I said, I'm trying to make my direction more of like, oh my God, I need this guy's, his knowledge, the way he teaches his players. Like he took a kid from high school that couldn't even play and then he made it to the NBA, this, that, whatever. Like he knows how to teach. Again, I love basketball, so I play it for fun. So one way that could have been better to shape my character was just to not play ever like on film, right? Can I play? Sure. If I want to train and do all those things myself, I can. However, there's another coach who I won't name names who used to teach a ton of content. Again, similar like, to me, and his stuff wasn't bad. But if he ever played, he would have gotten wrecked,
Right.
And so he was not allowed to play on film ever, which was smart because all the comments and all the kids and all the people were tricked into thinking like, damn, this guy will never miss. Like this guy would cook Steph Curry. This guy would
Right,
cook.
right.
Blah, blah, blah. And the way that he was perceived was like being the greatest, of all time. And they're like, oh, I would love to see him match up against this. But in reality, if he matched up against anybody, he would have lost. So it I would never call that a failure as far as like what I've done and what
Sure.
I've did
Yeah.
because anytime I want to, I can get back in the gym myself. I own a gym, so I can get in the gym and work on my game and play more and do this and do that. And sometimes I want to and have a desire to do that because I just love the game. But for long-term growth, I understand my vision is to train, 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 not to play. For me, right? Because that's what I do best.
Yeah.
So when I call that a failure, I wouldn't call it a failure. It's just if I could have gone back and did it differently, maybe I would have done it a little bit different. Um, so that's just one thing that could have been different for my branding, right? What else would I call like a failure? Uh,
While you think about it, I'll just kind of say that this was a trick question.
yeah,
So, basically, like, the way I categorize is just like you said, like nothing is actually is a failure.
yeah,
Everything's just a learning opportunity at the end of the day. Like we just use like the F word to like, categorize it into something.
yeah. So I mean, I guess I could, and again, like the way that you allow people to see you on camera is never like the real. Sometimes as much as
Of
you want to
course.
show it.
Yep.
Um, So, like I said, I wouldn't call it a failure, but could I have done things differently? Yeah, you could have. What else would I call a failure? Uh, that's a really tough one because I feel like I've been on a really good path of just understanding and doing things the right way. I mean, at the end of the day, when you work hard and you treat people right, good things will always come. And I have great relationships with everybody that I've ever worked with. Like I have no bad blood with anybody. So I wouldn't really say like I have a ton of failures. Maybe just certain things that I could have done better or could have done quicker or could have understand it
Of
earlier
course. Yep.
or understood. So yeah.
Oh, that's fair enough. That's good. So last thing I'm gonna say before we hop into the championship.
Okay.
I know we're almost at like 90 minutes here. a lot of people also ask this kind of, and they always ask guys like Dev or any kind of trainer. So like, what advice would you give someone that wants to be the next R2B ball, which I'm sure there's a
Yeah.
lot of people looking up to you?
So like I said, I mean, as far as training goes, I've gone into consulting a lot of other trainers and talking to other trainers, which is something that I do want to turn into a business.
Mhm.
However, the most important thing that I told you was that I worked with Drew, and I worked with Dev, and I worked with Jayla, I worked with Gannon, I worked with Cody, I worked with everybody that I could.
Yeah.
So being around those guys, you learn so much. Like the intern that we just got this week has been with us for less than a week, and he's just mind blown by the way that we run our business and how it's done so organized and so well, and how every single kid knows when they're supposed to be there, what exactly they're doing. I don't have to explain anything. I just say, do this, do this, do this, and they all understood. They're all so advanced for their age. Like the biggest thing is just to be around other trainers that are successful, and then they're going to do things that are normal to them that are mind blowing to you. And so if you can shadow or intern or be with and get a mentor of other trainers that are successful and do what you do, that's the number one thing that you could do to be successful. So I mean that goes for any business. Like
Yeah.
if I wanted to do what you
Absolutely.
do, I would shadow you for 3 months straight and be like, study, study, study. What does Nav do? Why does he handle it like this? Why is he calling someone like that? Why
Right.
would he connect with this? Why would he do something like that? Like, and then I would know what to do.
Yeah, I love that you said that. And I hope the people listening can try to take something from it, because I think, like I said, just going back to what I said earlier, like people are just, I think, scared, or like, so the thing I found during quarantine, bro, and I'm sure you probably experienced it too, was everyone's at home,
Yeah.
so I was able to put myself out there and contact a lot more people via direct DM,
Mhm.
and they would actually reply, like verified people, like million followers, because they were home.
Yeah.
So like,
Busy hustling and bustling. Yeah.
yeah, so like this was, this COVID period sucked, but it was also the best time to kind of put yourself out and do what we just talked about. Like, go ask someone for a piece of advice on this, or to do this with you, and to have a chance to kind of learn and mentor from them. So
Yeah.
huge, bro. Yeah, like I said, I love that you're doing that stuff. Let's transition into championship. So again, last section we're gonna kind of go over with you is like, so basically championship, right? Like we're gonna talk about, like, what are you working towards? What do you want to be remembered for? If there is something, and I want to kind of understand your motivations more behind what you do. And essentially what I want to do is, and the first question I'm going to ask you is, like, I want to understand, what is your why?
Yeah.
When I'm sure you have it, like, you wake up every day, what's your why?
You just saw my pops, right?
Yeah.
So I told you I worked at his store since I was
Yep.
in the fifth grade. And my mom's family is pretty successful from where she's from,
Okay.
which is really odd because for some reason I just always wanted to make them proud, and I always wanted to be able to figure out things myself. So I'm at a point now where I'm, doing really well, and the gym is thriving and every kid is doing good, and now a big part of my why is number one, it was always that I just want to make a huge positive impact in the world. That's it. I mean, I'm not a super religious person. I don't know why we're here or what happens after, but I want to as long as I walk away leaving a huge positive impact in this world, that is a huge plus. Secondly, a lot of it is that I want to take care of my brother and make sure that he can do all the things that he wants, because that kid means the world to me. So
Yeah.
as long and he's a very caring person, and he'll do anything for anybody. So as long as I can take care of him and allow him and guide him to give him the resources he needs to continue to, do the same. I mean, he wants to do the same things I do as far as like leave a huge lasting impact on a lot of people. Then I mean that's a huge why. And then you coincide that with our love for basketball. I mean, how do you lose? You're teaching kids basketball, you're helping kids become, better men and women as they grow up. And I mean, you make them better players, you make them better people. Like
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
a huge why. And I just really enjoy being successful. And then eventually you get to the point long term where I own two gyms and I'm killing it on social media, and I'm teaching 4 million kids all these different things about
Yeah.
basketball, giving a good foundation. And then I could travel and run camps, and I could do this and I could do that, and I could be wherever I want to, whenever I want to, and then I could actually touch these people in real life and actually give them more knowledge where they could never have access to certain things. That was a huge reason why I brought all these trainers to San Diego, because these kids would never have access to train with Devin, or never have access to train with Drew or any of these guys, unless I brought them here. So I want someone to bring me somewhere else, and then I can give them that real R2 B ball experience.
I love that, man. compared to like a lot of, like I said, not saying names or whatever, but just compared to like a lot of other people I've talked to that are similar to you and what you do or what you're trying to do, like you're like very well put together, if you kind of know what I mean. Like you have a good head and shoulders, like in terms of the direction you're trying to go.
Yeah.
Like well spoken, understanding, and like just passionate. Like
Thank you.
passion is what I see. You know,
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. So
No,
like
I
passion
wouldn't
is,
be there. I
I
wouldn't be
see like
there if
bleeding
I-
out of your eyes almost like.
Yeah.
So that's I always love seeing that, because I feel like, you know, we're in a passion economy. So like when you're passionate about something, like you say, you're going all out. Then you got your brother involved. Then you
Yeah.
know you're doing it for your parents. So I really like seeing that, bro. So the business side a little bit, being an entrepreneur, right?
Mhm.
At the end of the day, like, yeah, creator, influencer, all whatever we want to term it. There's a million things we could call you, but you know, you're an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
How has that process been like for you? Do you enjoy it? I'm assuming you love it, first of
Yeah.
all. Like,
Somebody asked me this question the other day, about like, oh, you must love your job. And I love it to death. I would not be doing it this many hours every single day if I did not love it to death. But it has changed so much because when I was 18, 20 years old, I was training kids wherever I could. I had about 30 clients and I was dedicated to these 30 kids
mhm,
to the point where I was, on them, asking about their games, texting them here and there, like really, really focused on these kids and how they're doing and how I could train them more and, charging them, of course, but, nothing crazy. Now that we train 230 kids, it's a lot harder
yeah,
to now I'm more of a businessman. Like at the time I was 100% trainer and, maybe 5% businessman. Like I understood what I was doing, but there
right.
was nothing like real concrete and guaranteed. I might have a good month. I might not have a good month. Now every month is a good month. So now it's it's gotten to the point where it's at least 50-50, probably closer to 60-40, more business than training. Um, and I enjoy it because I've learned so much about business, and that to me is exciting also. I've learned as much as I could or not, you never are done learning, but I've learned
Of course.
as much as I possibly could up to now for development and how to train youth players all the way for as long as I can. There's still more to learn about training pros and more terminology and things that they do and stuff. And could I do it? Yeah, I could do it. But again, when you spend, you know, 365 days training children, you master that.
Yeah.
I'm about as good as I can get and can obviously continue to grow. I'm trying not to fumble my words here, but with youth training, and now I've understood the business and I know that there's a little bit more that I need to fix and clean up on this side of it that I can make it even better. And then obviously just growing and growing and growing and doing certain things like that. Um, but it has shifted more from training to business and I enjoy it. But eventually I want to get to the point where the business can just run itself and then I could just train and play basketball and do whatever I want to whenever I feel like it,
Yeah.
and then I could go on to more business ventures and do things whenever I feel like it because everything is set. So that's
Exactly.
the goal.
Slowly as you get older, kind of expand your empire and kind of build it
Yeah.
out. That's dope, man. So obviously you've learned a lot throughout the entrepreneurial journey. Like I said, you're only 25, so you're like a young baby boy still. By the time you're 30, you'll probably be well versed in this whole areas.
Yeah.
It's always cool to see, because the way I see it is a fact. Not a lot of influencers, whatever you want to call them, like they aren't able to transition properly into like that entrepreneurial business side.
Yeah.
That's when they'll go off and hire a manager who does the wrong thing or XYZ or whatever it may be. So I always like seeing that, you know, guys like yourself are able to just go through the grind, just go through the process. You learn as you go. You start your own gym. I'm sure the first time you filed taxes, it was like a wild experience. And every year is a wild experience. But it's just like doing all that stuff, like registering your LLC, is like those are like big breakthroughs. Those are big accomplishments. To
Yeah,
go through.
sure, for sure.
That's cool. So, couple last things before we kind of wrap up here. R2B ball and the hoop house. Those are the babies, right? That's like the main thing. So I
Mhm,
want to understand a little bit more about the business side in terms of where do you want to take this? So in the lab,
mhm.
just of context,
Yeah,
we are going to build the next Adidas.
yeah. No, I
That,
said
that's
that yesterday. Yeah,
really,
I
so
said that yesterday.
that's what we want to do. That's what we're gonna me and Dev are gonna make happen.
Mhm.
What do you want to do, like for R2B ball, hoop house, or combining, or however you want to classify it?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to do?
Well, I love that you separate the two, by the way. It's super important that I mean, I'm glad that I did that branding right.
Okay, yeah.
Thank God I did that one right.
You call it the R2B ball house, we would have had some other questions to talk about.
And that would have been a huge issue, because you would never be able to walk away from it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
you know, I saw that vision from the start. As we name it the Hoop House, you train at the Hoop House. You don't train with Ryan. Like,
Good
yes,
comment. Good
I'm,
point.
I'm there, you know, often, but it won't be there forever. And so thankfully we branded it that way. But as far as, like, you know, what we want to do legacy wise with our business and how we want to do that, I don't see that we, you know, become in the lab, right? And that's your thing. You guys do an incredible job with that,
Appreciate
and
that.
how you story tell and how you market and how you sell products and things like that. The way I really see it is it is ideal is you open 2 gyms, you train over 500 kids a week, you know, maybe close to 600 kids a week, and then you potentially open up more or partner with other people who want to
Yeah,
franchise it, you know,
absolutely.
whatever that turns out to be. You either open up more gyms privately owned or you franchise it, however you want to do it. But, you know, you take the R2 blueprint and
Yeah.
you teach all these other people.
Literally.
But
Yeah, absolutely.
that's one way. The other way is maybe it's you own 2 gyms and then you have a consulting business where, you know, coaches fly in to get your certification or, you know, your
Yes.
validation, whatever you want to call it, to then be like, damn, like I went through the whole book of blueprint of R2B ball and how he teaches all these kids and how I should be teaching my kids. Um, and then now I'm not having to own all these gyms, but my knowledge is being spread to all these people. So that's another business that you can create. I mean, there's a
Yep.
million different ways that you can continue to share your knowledge and on how I've been able to be successful and turn those things into a business. But really, I, like you said, I'm young, I'm 25. I want to travel the whole world and run a basketball camp in like every single country and every single city. Because a
Yeah.
huge part of that is when you go to those cities, you're hosted, which means that you have locals there who can show you the area
Yeah.
and not show you the touristy spots. You can train 100 kids at once. You get to connect with all these coaches and teach them your ways and teach them how to be better coaches. All these connections are incredible. You get to eat all this new food and you get to hang out with all these new
That's
people, and like,
parts of traveling. Yep.
you know, that you learn a lot, you teach a lot. I mean, how much better can you? I mean, for me, that's an ideal thing, you know, where
I
you're
agree.
training what you love, you're traveling what you love, you're meeting new people what you love, you're eating new food what you love, you're surrounded by the youth which I love, you know, and then you hopefully can partner with different professional athletes who can come and give back to the youth, and then, you know, they're building these relationships and connections where now you're guiding more and more players into professional levels of basketball who want it, because there's a lot of players who do want it but don't have that right guidance. So as long as you can provide some of those resources, then you can allow them to know what they're doing wrong, or teach them what they don't even know that they don't even know.
100%.
I mean, do I have an exact direct direction of what I 100% want to do? No, but I know
I like
ideally,
that.
you know,
And I
what.
think that's key. So what I want to say to the listeners is, like, I call it the championship, but
Mhm.
at the end of the day, like, it can't be linear. So like, people have many championships in life.
Yeah.
Like, you just outlined,
Hmm.
that could be 20 different championships, which is great. But
Yeah.
you just understand, like, these are the things I'm working towards,
Hmm.
and they're all like not far off from each other. They're all in the same realm of basketball. So you can easily achieve all of them, which is great.
Hmm.
That's what it's all about.
This. Are you guys still working with Adidas?
Yeah, we work with many brands. Like, we're not set or signed to, like, oh, we can only work with Adidas or this brand. It's more so just like, Dev has done an amazing job building great relationships
Mhm.
with all these different brands. And that's why you see us more with Adidas, because like they love Dev, and Dev like loves the guys over there as well too.
Oh yeah.
So that's what that. But we're not like signed to like an Adidas or anything like that.
Mhm.
And also, like, now it's, we're building on the lab. We're trying to like do that separately, which we can always talk about offline as well too. But
No, no,
yeah,
of course, of course, of course. I mean, I just think it's incredible. You know, like when I open up a second gym, or no matter what I do, like my goal, a huge goal of mine is to connect with so many more of these brands and things and sponsorships and
100%.
yada yada yada, all these things, to then get to the point where they can cover all of your costs. Because a huge part of like owning a gym and being a trainer and
Yep.
one of the hardest parts about it is that you have to, and you know this just as well as I do, like there are certain people that you can charge full price, and unfortunately, the way that the world works, there are some people that you cannot. And
Been
so,
through that. Yep.
and Dev talks about this a lot, where he's like, okay, I have some kids who can't afford my training. Well, they just work for me then.
Yeah.
And there are many ways to go about this. There are many ways to favor for favor, and there's many ways to charge these people and to not charge these people. As long as 90% of the people are paying, then you take care of a couple people that you need to, whatever, whether it be as you want to, or whether it's good for your brand, or no matter what. And so one of the hardest things about training, unfortunately, is that there's a lot of costs that are involved. Whether it's your time, whether
Yeah.
it's
The rent.
hire, your rent, it's
Yeah.
whether it's you hire other trainers to help you out, whether it's your equipment, no matter what it is, right? And when you can eventually get to the point where you have certain sponsors, or certain, even if it's merchandise, or even if it's items that you sell, or things that are offsetting the cost of all those things, then you could lessen the price of the training, or
Yep.
subsidize it, or you can run these free camps, or give away these free shirts, or do more branding, or do whatever that you want to do, because a lot of those costs are offset, which is huge. Because I've seen it firsthand from my trainers that I work with, is they have this glowing passion for teaching these kids, and guiding these kids to be, the next, you know, and superstar.
Yeah.
So that's a huge piece of things that we want to do, is being able to connect more with like brands, and allow that to offset certain costs, so we can provide even more.
I love it, man. One of the cool things about like having the podcast and like me taking it seriously this year is like to not only be able to like to talk and connect with individuals like yourself, like for a 2 hour long conversation, but like I feel like I like really understand you as a
Oh, yeah.
human being, right? Like right in this moment, like I really understand you and your motives and like what you want to achieve. And I think that's like the dopest part, because like now we've built this connection. I don't even need to be in the same room, in the same room as you, or the same country, because I'm in Canada right now. So it's just really dope, man. So look, we kind of went through all this kind of stuff. Like I said, we almost over 2 hours, which I want to thank you again, being the first guest on the podcast for 2021, giving me 2 hours of your time, which I know is very, very precious. And I want to kind of just give you the floor. So usually like I'll end the podcast segment by just saying like, hey, like obviously just, you can drop your handles and stuff, which is R2B ball, but maybe there's some other stuff you want to drop. But just like if you have like a message you want to say to the kids who are listening, or to your followers, or just like, for example, like Marcel, different creators will talk about different causes that they're supporting throughout
Mhm.
throughout the year. So the floor is yours, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like the biggest thing I said is just, I want to just leave a lasting impact, and provide as much as I can. I mean, thankfully for me, I had a young start. Um, I was, 16, 18 years
16,
old when
crazy, yeah.
I started. And so I really like to support and see other young entrepreneurs who do their thing. One of the biggest issues that a lot of people either don't know what they don't know, or they don't have a direction. So I think one of the easiest and quickest ways to find that is to literally reach out to someone who's doing exactly what you want to do, and find a way to get into their circle, and offer and give as much as you can, until you cannot give anymore, or until they're forced to hire you, or they're forced to connect you with somebody who will put you in the
Right.
right position. Because, or if, let's say, for instance, I couldn't connect with Devin, and then that's what I wanted to do. Well, I would bug the hell out of you, Nav, until I could do
Don't,
anything I
don't
could
tell
for
that to
you.
too many people. I'm gonna have to cut that part out.
Hey, man,
I'm
I'm
just
just,
kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
there's always a way to reach someone
Yeah.
somehow. If you are giving yourself and offering yourself, instead of
Yeah.
asking for stuff. So, because I mean, I know that we've had a lot of interns come through our place, and they've just absolutely loved it. And it's been amazing for them to see the way that we run our business, and the way that we train people, and how they could walk away from learning so many things like that to pursue their passions and their careers. And so that's one way that I can give back some positive,
I love it,
influence.
man. I just want to say one quick hack, because like I've actually done what you just said before. Where
Yeah.
if I want to contact someone big, I'll actually go find their assistant or video editor or photographer, and kind of just get cozy with them a little bit, like some of their stuff, follow them, and then eventually hit them up. And it
Yeah.
is one of the best ways. So people, some of the smartest people like I've had a chance to talk to, have actually hit me up first, like you said, to
Mhm.
try and pitch something to Dev, and those have turned into like a brand deal or a cool conversation, just because they understood like, yo, Dev's DM's probably crazy, just like
Mhm.
yours are. So let me go hit up someone else. So I just want to say, if you're listening, like really good tip that Ryan just dropped. So
Yeah.
just pay attention. But like I said, bro, last thing, just tell everyone where to follow you and all your accounts.
So all my accounts are R2B ball, except for YouTube is just Ryan Razooky basketball. So I could finally have my name somewhere.
And
No.
I like that. And let's end the entire segment with this. Just list your top 3 or top 5 anime characters of all time. I need to know, bro. Or just whatever you got, just tell me.
Great. This is great. Let me turn back some time real
Think
quick.
about it, because it's a tough one. And you know, if I post this, people are gonna come after you
Yeah,
guys.
you can join me for this one.
What's up, bro? This is the brother.
This is the
Yeah,
brother.
how you doing?
So I have to list my top
All right,
5.
what's your name, bro?
Justin.
Justin, nice to meet you, my man.
I have to list my top 5 anime characters of all time.
Okay, hold on. If you want, why don't we let Justin? Because I'm sure you watch anime.
Oh yeah.
Why don't you go first? Let Ryan think about it. List your
Oh,
top 3 to 5 anime characters, bro.
Shout out to the merch.
We see the shooter shoot, bro.
Get your merch.
Okay,
Get your merch.
go ahead.
All right. I'm gonna just say, I'm gonna go with Kakashi number
I
1.
knew that was coming.
Okay.
Yeah, he's my favorite. Kilo at 2.
Ah, Kilo and nasty.
I'm gonna go with Jiraiya at 3.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with
It's all the senseis, you know what I'm saying?
oh my gosh, that's so tough. What are their enemies? Oh, I gotta go with Demon Slayer's main character.
Okay.
I don't remember
I
his,
don't know. Okay.
his first name, but Demon Slayer's main character.
Okay, Ryan, who you got? He gave 4 like solid ones.
He did. I'm trying to think of
He's
like
trying to think.
I know I'm still trying to
this is
because I'm not trying to give you
The most
this,
important is the top 3. So if you just give me 3, I mean that's always like the most important.
yeah, I'm not trying to give you the same answers. Obviously, you know, Kakashi is incredible, but I don't want to give you that answer because he already gave you that one. So let me think. Hold on. Who, like top 3 characters, right?
Top 3 characters, bro.
Okay.
You bought a hoop tomorrow, 5-on-5. You know, you're picking these 3 up.
that's a different question. That's a different question.
That's some Kuroko right there.
Hey, that's tough. Could I steal Kakashi at least?
Yeah, bro. I want to know what is Ryan's. So okay,
I would take Kakashi because he you know he's a calm, cool, level-headed guy.
Yeah.
You know, he knows his stuff. He's a great teacher, but he's never rattled, and he's there for his people, right?
Yeah.
So Kakashi for sure. And then I'm trying to think of all the other animes I've watched. Like definitely not Light Yagami. Definitely not him. As cool as he is, he's not a cool, calm, level-headed dude.
He's not. He's wild.
Yeah. I've watched so many anime, it's hard to think of all the ones I've seen. I like Mugen a lot.
Okay.
He's kind of contrary because he's not calm, cool, level-headed, but even though he's crazy, he's still there for his people. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of like characters like that too, who are like off the edge a little bit, like Vegeta, who's a little bit like off the edge.
No, he's got a heart.
But in the inside, you know, he's still there for.
Yeah.
So maybe Mugen, and then because I don't want to give you like generic answers. I want to give you some a little better.
Yeah, you're going more in depth because you know.
Yeah.
Which I like. The anime heads will appreciate it.
And then who? And I haven't watched. I guess I did watch a ton of One Piece, but still not a ton of One Piece. But I like Zoro.
Okay. Zoro's a cool character.
Zoro's. I don't know if I'd give him my top 3 just because I never finished the anime, so I think that's kind of cheating. But I did like him as a character. But if not, I mean, I guess you could say like it's hard because obviously the characters who get the most character development are the main ones. It just sucks to have to choose the main.
It's always like that.
Yeah,
See, for me, I'm generic as heck, so I got the tat and everything. I gotta go Goku number 1. It has to be my number 1 because my whole life is based on it. But I know, like you said, it's like all class.
I could say Goku, but like
that's like the generic. It's like, oh crap, okay.
I mean, I could say Goku. I'm just trying not to pick Goku.
I know. I respect you. I respect you for trying to do that.
So it's tough. But,
so okay. I want to shout out to all the listeners. This was almost a 2-hour podcast. Again, Ryan, bro, like thank you so much. Like I hope we can do this maybe 6 months from now, catch up again, and just like keep staying in the loop with each other. If you guys don't already, follow him, R2B Ball. Check out all his stuff. Be a part of his content, his community, what he's doing and building. Just continue, man. Just continue to grow. Like as listeners, as us, and like Ryan. Thank you for the 10th time.
No,
Thank you,
dude.
bro. And man, we're all watching your journey. We're excited to see what you're gonna do. And let's just all I can say is like I always end my podcast just to remind everyone, let's just keep building and growing. That's the best way. That's the best way to put it.
Consistency.
Yep.
That's all it is. I appreciate you. Seriously. Thank you so much.